Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
He's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella's story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Hello, my name is Josh McCown. Welcome to Capital Hacking and welcome to Mindset Monday. You know, the mind and the power of the human capital is something we go through and journey with each entrepreneur we talk to each week. And in episode 308, we met Kevin Taylor, the gentleman who was a banker, an entrepreneur for 30 years, built a bank, and now is an elite EOS implementer. Today begins his journey as a teacher, where he's going to pull out the kernels, the gold, the nuggets, and share them with you and I on how we can make some powerful choices today to change our trajectory of the rest of our lives. So let us know how you like it. Check out episode 308 and find out more about Kevin and dig in deep. Let's go.
Welcome to the Capital Hacking Podcast. I'm your host for today, Kevin Taylor. And today we're going to talk about mindset. So last week I talked a little bit about vulnerability and what it means to be vulnerable. So I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable with you today. And so I'm going to share and speak about a podcast that's very near and dear to my heart, because this is one that I listened to 2 days after I was told that I am no longer a fit for the company that I helped co-found, that I was part of for 15 years. And man, it was kind of like a gut punch to me on that, because basically I was fired, and I have never been fired from a company before. But, one of the podcasts I listen to a lot is the Ed Milet show. And Ed Milet had a lady on by the name of Jamie Kern Lima, and I had never heard of her before. But after listening to this podcast, I'm like, man, she is my kind of people. Really, really liked listening to it. And so there's a lot of emotion, tied to me leaving a company I was with for 15 years. And in this podcast and listening to Jamie saying the words rejection is God's protection is something that is really, really resonated with me. And then Ed Milet goes on in this podcast saying God is protecting you when he takes the perception of your value away from the people who once had it. And sometimes you may find yourself getting out of a relationship or a job. Maybe they used to value you, but now they don't. That's God removing that value from them to protect you. And so the interview I'm talking about is Jamie Kern Lima. She was on the Ed Milet show. This episode dropped June 20th of 2023. And it's just, it's been a couple months since I first found I was going to be making a pivot and follow my passion with helping entrepreneurs live the EOS life by becoming an EOS implementer inside, helping them implement these processes inside their company. And I truly believe that this was the push I needed to pivot and focus on this passion full time. And so I've got a little bit of a summary here for you. And then in the show notes at the end, I will post a link to the podcast should you want to listen to the whole thing. But here's a little bit about Jamie Kern Lima. So she was adopted as a child. She was fast forward, got a job as a waitress at Denny's. Then she started her own company, who ultimately ended up selling it to L'Oreal for over $1 billion. So pretty quick summary, right? So how did she create a company that eventually made her a billionaire? And so again, I'll put a link to the podcast in the show notes, so you can listen to the whole episode. But here are some of the nuggets that I got from it, and it's one of those that I just love these nuggets when I'm looking at these again. So in life, you don't rise to what you believe is possible; you fall to what you believe you are worthy of. And she goes on to say, it's important to have clarity and know your why and take massive action, because these are not enough to have the life that you want. You have to believe you're worthy of it. And so, so you think about, what is the difference between worthiness and self-confidence. And so she goes on to explain that there's a massive difference. She said the massive difference between self-confidence and self-worth. So what is self-confidence? Self-confidence is a trait most closely linked to external things. It's how you assess your strengths, your skills, how you compare to others, all that stuff. So it fluctuates based on external things. Self-worth. What is self-worth? It's deeply internal. It's believing you are enough exactly as you are. It doesn't fluctuate on external things. And so you can have all the confidence in the world, but you will not be fulfilled unless you have a strong self-worth. So this is why when you finally get that thing that you've always wanted, maybe it's a job, a car, a house, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever it is, you may not be fulfilled unless you believe you are worthy. Gosh, I mean, I remember at a younger age too, again, me being vulnerable it's like, oh, I just didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel happy and stuff. It's like, maybe I need a new car, or maybe I need something else. And then, once you get it, it's good for a little bit, but then the newness wears off. And so it makes me think, did I really feel like I was worthy on some of these things? And so she also talks about changing your relationship with rejection. So I mentioned this earlier. When you change your relationship with rejection, you change your entire life. And so fear of failure and rejection kills so many dreams. So it keeps us stuck where we are. And I love the phrase that she says, you're not crazy, you're just first. And so I'll say that again, you're not crazy, you're just first. And so Ed, again, he says this, mentioned earlier, rejection is God's protection. So when she had less than $1,000 to the name, Jamie Kern Lima had less than $1,000 to the name. The investor that she was counting on didn't come through. And so this is part of her story. She talks about she had less than $1,000 to her in both her business and personal account. And the product that she had, it's a product that helps with the rosacea on your skin. And the product that she had an investor lined up. They've gone through all the due diligence. They wanted to meet in person. She thought this was going to be her saving grace. And, basically the investor said, look, we think you've built a great company. We love what you've done, but unfortunately for us, it's a no. And she goes on in the podcast to say, she actually asked him, hey, look, I think feedback is a gift. And so if you wouldn't mind, would you give me feedback as to why it's a no? And she says he paused for a little bit. He looked at her and he said, do you really want to know? And she goes, yeah, I really want to know.
Hi, this is Melanie McCallan. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com.
And he said to her, I just don't feel like women will buy a product from someone who looks like you. And you talk about a gut punch. I mean, someone who has struggled with this her whole life, of her self-image and I'm not worthy and all of this stuff, to have someone tell you that to your face too. I mean, I thought I got a gut punch by, telling me I'm not a good fit for the company that I worked for 15 years. Man, that had to be a gut punch. And so fast forward. So you fast forward, I think it was five years or so later, the day that L'Oreal bought her company for $1.2 billion in cash, she got a call from this investor congratulating her. And she says in the interview, she said, it's so funny. She goes, have you ever seen Pretty Woman and Julia Roberts in that, where she gets rejected from the store and then she comes back later and she holds up all the shopping bags and she's like, big mistake, huge. That's what she wanted to do, but she kept it classy and she, thanked him but had he invested in her company, it would have been the most successful investment in his firm's history. Had things gone the way she wanted when she was asking for the money, it would have cost her over $500 million. So again, rejection is God's protection. Sometimes we don't see it when it happens. We just have to give it time. And so know that if you are rejected, or if you've been rejected in the past, or you're going to get rejected in the future, God may be hiding your value from people that aren't assigned to your destiny. And then another note I have is God's protecting you when he takes the perception of your value away from the people who once had it. I think I mentioned this earlier. And you find yourself getting, out of a relationship or a job. That's God removing that value to protect you. So that's about being rejected. And then service to other people. So I have a couple bullet points on this. If you don't have self-worth, you will never be truly fulfilled. You also need self-confidence and growth. You have to be growing and contributing to be fulfilled. Ed says this a lot. Ed Milet says this a lot. And he says, we are best positioned to serve the person we once were. So again, going through difficult things. I heard this before too, where it said, in order to have a great testimony, you have to be tested. And I absolutely love that, because there's things that all of us go through. All of us go through some sort of struggle in life. And it has to. You have to go through that struggle to grow. And I love this this is the saying that sticks in my head a lot, where we are best positioned to serve the person you once were. So if any of this speaks to you, I believe you'll get value out of Jamie's new book, Worthy. And this actually just came out. I pre-ordered my copy when I heard this podcast, but this is what it looks like. It's Worthy. It's how to believe you are enough and transform your life. Great book. Recommend it. And that's all I've got for you today. So again, we'll put the link to this podcast with Ed Milet and Jamie Kern Lima in the show notes. And thanks for joining us.
Damn straight. We just got buddy. We got to the end of another great show. And everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity, because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.